Hi everyone. I hope you guys can hear me. Um, Hi, and very happy to see you here this afternoon. Thanks for coming. So I am Shreya. I am the CEO and co-founder of FlexiBees. FlexiBees is an organization that provides flexible, that is part-time and project-based talent to businesses via qualified women working remotely. We've been around for 3 years now, and it's been 3 very interesting years. And we believe in finding the best match talent for any requirement that comes in. In fact, that's something that fills us with joy to be able to find exactly what a startup or any business wants in their talent. We've dedicated ourselves to being able to do that, as well as along with the best match, be able to model it in such a way that it is also cost effective. So that's really us. So what we'll do is I have a presentation which talks about how flexible talent can help startups grow, and we I will share that, and I'll talk you through it. There is some fun day in it, but there are also lots of examples and case studies from our own experience. So I'm hoping that it will be interesting, and and you guys can uh, type in your questions if you have any through the chat or through the presentation. And once the presentation is over, I'll try and answer all of them to the best of my ability, and we can interact after that too. So let me get straight to the presentation. Okay. Okay, I hope everyone can see that. Yeah. So the topic, as you all know, is how flexible talent can help startups grow. And there is a subtitle here, which is even in the times of COVID and beyond. And we all know that COVID has hit us badly, and now more than ever, we need to find frugal ways to grow and frugal ways to hire great talent. So this is all about that. So, what are some of the constraints that startups face in hiring? And I would love to talk to you guys later about some of the constraints that you face. This is from our experience of working with startups and from us being a startup also. So, yeah, let's look at some of the constraints that we think there are. So tight budgets and cash flows. I mean, who can argue with that, right? So there is a bit of a catch-22 situation here. So startups need experienced talent to grow, but before they reach that stage, hiring experienced talent can be expensive. So a lot of startups then end up, hiring interns and freshers, which is great if you have the time to commit to train them and sort of wait for them to be productive. But most of our startups don't have those luxuries, and we need our talent to be productive from day one. And that productive talent, which is essentially talent which is experienced, is expensive to hire. The second constraint area is that demand takes a while to ramp up. Again, all of us being, in the startup ecosystem here, being founders, would know that. For example, you could be a boutique investment bank, and you could have interest. You could even have some business when you're starting out, but you may not still be able to afford, say, a backend team that can do research for you, or create pitch decks, or do some modeling while handle the front end. So you may end up having to pay from your own pocket for full-time talent, or you may end up having to stretch yourself and take on both aspects of this, which is, none of these are optimal solutions really. And finally, the third constraint, which I think is one of the most important ones. So startups by design need to keep innovating, need to keep experimenting, doing MVPs. There may be pivots. So as a startup, you'd want to enter new geographies, you'd want to test new models, new product lines and service lines, and which means that there has to be you would want to keep an eye on competition and be able to respond in a very agile manner, which means that there has to be a culture and an environment that drives agility and nimbleness, which also needs to extend to hiring. And today, conventional hiring models are not really very agile. So these we thought were some of the constraints that startups face. And to be honest, while I'm focusing on startups, I don't see the situation being very different for larger businesses. And larger businesses today also face a very dynamic and competitive environment. Consumer habits are changing, new technologies are coming, competition is really strong. And given all of this, I mean, product cycles have to be crunched. They can't anymore spend, say, 2 to 3 months in onboarding talent and another, 6 months in training them and making them productive. So, there needs to be an environment of experimentation and agility, even in a larger business today, which makes the flexible talent ecosystem relevant for them too. Now, how COVID has compounded these problems. So yeah, I mean, even those of us who have demand and have business are seeing cash flows becoming tighter. Payments are getting delayed, which is inhibiting the ability to hire good talent even further. Secondly, demand is more uncertain. Even if there are green shoots, we don't know by when they'll reach the earlier stages, and especially for consumer businesses. And finally, what I think is really an opportunity space, while the first two are more in the constraint area, the need for MVPs and pivots have become even stronger. So, with the pandemic, as the consumer habit has changed, and consumers today are consuming content differently, media differently, their purchase behavior has changed, their basket of goods has changed. Their many different aspects of their lives have gone digital and online. So a lot has changed because of this pandemic, and a lot of businesses are looking at ways to adapt their product lines, their models, their services to the new changing consumer, which means more experimentation, it means more pivots, it means more agility. And this is exactly the time when businesses and startups need to have the freedom to be able to do all of these things without having to get into long more expensive hiring or more commitment oriented hiring. So yeah, it's a special situation at this time, which has made the constraints of hiring even more acute. So this is where the flexible talent ecosystem can help in navigating these problems. So I'll talk you through some of those. Yeah. So first of all, what is the flexi talent ecosystem, or rather, what are the different pillars of it? What are the different aspects of it? So skilled and expert talent. Now, a lot of you may have heard of the gig economy. It's been all the rage for some years now, and a lot of us would have the idea, when you think of a gig worker, who do you think of, or what kind of skill do you think of? And we would say maybe a great graphic designer, or a really good content writer, or maybe a coder, these or maybe even an SEO specialist. So these are people who we associate with the gig economy. But I'm here to tell you that the flexible talent ecosystem is actually far wider than that. So today, the flexible talent ecosystem is attracting a wide variety of skilled talent across functions and sectors. It could be in the more core areas like sales, marketing, investment banking, or it could be in the more freelance friendly areas like content design, technology, you name it, you've got it. There are various reasons why these workers come and get attracted to the flexi talent ecosystem. It could be the need for flexibility, it could be the need for freedom, it could be the need for variety. There are various motivations to why they want to become part of this ecosystem. But whatever those needs are, it's great for the businesses on the other end of it, because today they can get all of this talent available in this manner. And what's more, they have the exact skill sets, so you don't really need to train them too much. And they also have new age skills, because for a flexi talent, for a flexible worker, their skill is their currency. Skill is basis what they, they get hired, or they, they grow. So that's something that they are always focused on. So yeah, a huge set of skilled and expert talent is what you get uh, from this ecosystem. Secondly, the project or role formats. So, to be honest, there is a lot of freedom, and there is a lot of flexibility in how you can structure your engagements as per what works for you as a business. So, it could be in a 2 week long project, or even shorter, or it could be a 2 year long running role, or both of these ends of the spectrum can be met through the flexi talent ecosystem. What is often a part of any such arrangement is the fact that most of them are contractual, and many of them have a part-time or remote working as part of the arrangement, because that is something that works for the talent, and to be honest, it works for the businesses also, like I'll speak about next. So connected to how you structure the engagements is how the pricing models work. And that's really at the heart of why businesses get attracted to the flexi talent ecosystem, is because the pricing can be really cost optimized. So for example, if you hire somebody to work in a role, for say a sales role or a marketing role for you, you have the option to take 25%, 50%, or 75% of their workday, and you would pay only for that you're taking, as opposed to hiring, say, full-time talent for work that perhaps doesn't need those level of hours. Similarly, for project, you can structure it as per the number of hours consumed, with an hourly rate, or you could structure it as per milestones if you know what those milestones are, or you could structure it basis output. So all of these ways of structuring engagements are very cost optimized, and they really sort of drive the pay per time needed uh, model, which of course is more effective than just hiring somebody full time. In those cases where the business need is that. And then finally, what is probably the most important aspect of the flexi talent ecosystem, or at least one of the two most important aspects, is the fact that you can hire really, really quickly, and also scale down quickly. So, as a business, you can hire a talented person, say, within 1 to 2 weeks, and there is no, sort of, long onboarding process where you have to negotiate long, uh, notice periods, etc., which is because of the non-traditional pool that you're hiring from, a pool of flexi workers. And equally important is the fact that you can also go back to a leaner team when the need arises. Say you have a seasonal demand, and there are on periods, but there are off periods as well, or you have a peak demands, and you have also troughs where you need to perhaps make your team lean. So there can be various use cases for why you may need to hire people at some parts of the year but not other parts of the year, or it could be externally triggered. I mean, as startups, we work in a very dynamic environment. Externally, funding could dry out, or something like Corona, which is unprecedented, of course, but something similar could happen. So it's always good for a part of your team to, or for you as a founder to figure out how to keep a very lean team, and the flexi talent ecosystem enables that. So yeah, here, so these are this through these aspects, or through these pillars of the flexi talent ecosystem, I was hoping to sort of explain how it works. So you can get trained, skilled experts. You can get them in a very cost effective, affordable manner, where you pay as per time needed, and you can get them really quickly on demand. You can scale up and scale down as per your business needs. So that in a nutshell is what the flexi talent ecosystem is about. Um, and now I actually want to take you guys through some examples. So I'll just I'll just go back to the Meet window and I'll see if this. Hmm. Okay. Yeah. So I just wanted to see that everything was fine. Okay. So now I'll take you guys through some examples that we have. So these are some that we've culled out from the ones that we ourselves have fulfilled, and I thought they'd be interesting. So they're all different in terms of the functions that are being spoken about here, and they also have some slight variations in the number of hours and the way the uh, engagement was structured, so on and so forth. So this was a bootstrap startup in the cloud solution space, and they came to us for a pre-sales professional, and this was a few years ago, so 2 to 3 years ago. And today, actually, the startup has exploded. As far as I know, they're still bootstrapped, but they've really grown and they're doing really good work. So at that time, two and a half years ago, they came to us looking for somebody who could help them reach out to more clients, and create the proposal, follow up with them, and all of that. And because they are in the cloud space, they needed somebody who understood IT, had worked in IT before, and to start with, they needed this person only for 2 3 hours a day. So we found somebody who actually had the technology pre-sales experience, that was critical for them, and had done the same things, had done the same actions, had the same workflow, and she was a great fit. In fact, so much so that the 2 to 3 hours, it expanded to 4 to 5 hours a day as the engagement went on. The second example that I have is about marketing. So this is a very early stage startup in the B2B e-com industry, and they wanted to build their marketing practice. So they wanted somebody to come in for positioning, for so part traditional marketing, but also part of digital marketing to attract traffic and visitors to their website. So they wanted somebody who could do that for around 20 to 25 hours a week. And it was a slightly difficult role to fulfill because it had various aspects. It needed to have somebody, the candidate needed to have marketing as well as digital marketing to some extent, as well as the B2B lens. So, but we found somebody who had 9 years of experience in B2B marketing, and had also worked across sales and communication, and she was a good fit for them. The third one is actually a larger company that we work for. So while we work primarily for startups, or startups are primarily our clients, some part of our business comes from larger companies also. Like I said, the flexi talent industry is quite relevant even for bigger companies who want to move really fast. So yeah, this FMCG player, wanted to enter India, and they in a few categories, and they wanted somebody who would have that category experience as well as the channel experience that they wanted to use, or which was most relevant for the category, and would be willing to work for 20 to 40 hours a month to create a launch strategy and so on and so forth. So we were able to get them again somebody who was quite a good fit. I mean, in fact, I a really good fit, if I were to say so myself, because not only did she have the beauty and personal care experience, she also had it across the channels that they wanted, which included digital marketing and e-commerce, and she was able to make the 20 to 40 hours a month work very well. So it was a great fit, and the project went very smoothly, and the client has been coming back to us multiple times after that for more talent. Mhm. Yeah, content writing is a big space for us, and what we do differently is because we feel that content is really a big differentiator in the sense that a lot of our businesses are reaching out to consumers, or our customers, and creating awareness and differentiation through the digital medium, on which content is so critical, of which content is such a critical part. So what how we differentiate ourselves from the multiple, say, content writing agencies that abound is that all of our writers are fairly experienced, and we are able to give people who also have specialized experience. So they, for example, in this case, this bootstrap startup in the space of sales training and assessments needed a B2B content writer. And if you guys, and I'm sure you guys would know actually, that B2B content writing is a very different sort of kettle of fish than, say, writing parenting material, or writing tech material, or writing education material. So it's slightly different. So they wanted somebody who had B2B content writing experience for 15 to 20 hours a month, and of course create visibility and talk about their products, and do lead generation in that way. And we were able to give them somebody who had 10 years of experience in content strategy, in content writing, had worked in PR agencies, creating material, marketing material for B2B and B2C. It was great. So again, in this one also, in the first month they increased the demand, and they wanted more hours, or they wanted her to write more material, which we were able to do. Oh yeah, and on the subject of writing, this was again a very it's again a big company, so 80-year-old listed company. They wanted a creative writer in the run up to a brand launch, and when we got this requirement, we were surprised because a company as large as this has agents, has the best agencies around it. So, but then it so turns out that they didn't have an excellent writer in any of their ecosystem who could write very evocatively and very beautifully about the brand that was about to be launched. It was a beauty brand, so it needed a certain kind of writing as well. So we were able to give them somebody who had 10 years of experience in writing great content, was a published author, copywriter, marketer, filmmaker, had a background in visual design, all of that. So I mean, of course, and most importantly, she was a beautiful writer. So we were able to give them somebody who worked for 40 hours. So that was the arrangement. 40 hours was the business need, spread out over 2 months to create this content in the run up to their launch. In fact, in this one, I remember what happened also was the launch got a bit postponed, which sometimes happens, and we were able to also hit pause on the contract, not bill for those hours, of course, and then unpause it once the launch was back on track. So this was an interesting one. Okay, now digital marketing. So this also is a very interesting example. That's why I've included it. So a startup in education tech wanted to hire a digital team in house. So they had gone the agency route, and for some reason it had not worked for them, and they wanted to have a team that would work in house. But of course, again, you guys would know that if you want to hire a digital team, you have to hire for multiple skill sets. You would have to hire somebody who's a social media marketer, somebody who's a paid marketing manager, somebody who's an SEO, a content person, a graphic person. So there are various different skills that you would need to hire for. Sometimes they can be collapsed in the same person. Very often they can't. So what really then made sense for them was to hire, and why then they came to us was because they wanted to hire then these skills for truncated hours in the day. So they started with a social media marketer to work for 10 to 15 hours a week. And that was the first thing they started with, to create their brand and to talk about their offering across multiple platforms, etc., leading to engagement, but also leads. And then, of course, they got an SEO person to, go and, sort of fine tune their content and, put bolster the effort on the lead generation. And then, in some time, they added a paid marketing manager once some of this groundwork was done, and they wanted to get onto the paid program. And we were able to, yeah. So basically, the people that we found for them were very experienced. So we were able to find them a social media professional who had education experience as well. And across channels and industries, we were able to find them an SEO specialist who had 10 years of experience, and we were able to find them a paid marketing manager who was a veteran with AdWords and media planning, analytics, and all of that. So yeah, that was an interesting sort of case study for us also. And this again in technology, there's also, of course, there's development, app development, etc. All of that is there, but also a very interesting case is when you want to test your app, and that obviously is a project based role. And in fact, what could also be interesting is that you can hire from different kinds of geographies, if that is inherent part of your test design. So this app in the natural health space wanted to hire somebody who was a mobile app tester, and for 60 hours per month for 3 months, which is when they thought that the app would be ready for launch. And we were able to find them somebody who had 12 years of experience in the IT industry, and 7 of those years were in software testing with expertise in mobile app testing as well. And yeah, that was a successful one. The next one is again a technology experience, very different in that this was an FMCG MNC in Singapore, and they wanted to hire a data wrangler for their expanding e-com business. And here the use case was also interesting in that they what they did was they hived off their internal team, and they separated out a chunk of work which their internal team was finding difficult to manage, and they were able to create a part-time role for it. And they so that meant 4 to 5 hours per day, and they hired somebody who would do the data cleaning, processing, uploading, etc. Yeah, and it worked well to relieve their internal teams of this bandwidth. So we were able to find them somebody who had experience in all the right things: data extraction, data setup, data analysis, the tools that they wanted, this person had experience in. And additionally, I think what they were also facing was a lot of churn on this role, because some part of this job can be repetitive, but because they hived off this role, and we were able to give them somebody who had expertise and the desire to work here, it worked very well for them. My next example is of a PMS, in the startup who needed an equity research analyst. Pretty straightforward to work for 4 to 5 hours a day, 5 days a week, and do all the things that equity research analysts do. Identify the right candidates, do the research, the financial modeling, all of that. And we were able to find them somebody who had 9 years of experience in equity research analysis with a leading firm in India, and was able to do all of the things that they wanted. And this engagement actually went on for really long. I mean, this company was a very early stage when they came to us, and I think the person that we gave them worked with them for more than 2 years. Yeah, and this is again a big company who had a similar use case to the one that I spoke about earlier, the FMCG MNC, where they wanted to relieve their internal team of they wanted to relieve some bandwidth for them. So they hived out, or they carved out another role, and this role was of an insurance consultant. They wanted this person to handle renewals, claims, etc. And we were able to find them somebody who had 6 years of experience in handling insurance renewals and claims. And this is actually my favorite example because I really like the startup. So this is an education startup, and they provide experiential learning, experiential science learning, for kids. So if you want to say learn physics, they'll send you a kit where you can do sort of experiments, very simple ones, and you can understand the fundamentals of some of the fundamentals of physics, and I'm not sure chemistry, but definitely physics for sure. And a very interesting and fun way for kids to learn science. So what they wanted was writers, or authors who could create their activity guides which go along with these kits, and they needed a team of people who could write knowledgeably, in a manner that kids could follow, but yet was very lucid. And they wanted this team to work on these science on these activity guides. So we gave them three science writers with very different kinds of experience. One was a postdoctoral research associate and a PhD in life sciences. That was their requirement. Actually, they wanted people who were highly qualified science graduates. So one of them was a PhD, the second one was a senior research fellow, and the third one was a dentist. And then the three of them were the team that created a high number of activity guides for them. So yeah, that was an interesting one. Yeah, I think that's it. I mean, I thought these would be enough. Let me go back. Yeah, I thought these would be illuminative enough for the audience here to understand how flexible talent can help help you answer your business need, you know, to the T. And I'd be happy to take on any questions now. I hope people were able to hear me. I'm seeing some messages of it had the webinar started, etc. But I hope everybody was able to hear me. Okay, there is a question from Victor. Are there best case practices templates publicly available for how to structure flexi talent engagements? Um, there are case studies which you can find, say, for example, on our website, and some material that we keep putting out there. Of course, there are other companies also which would have some material like case studies, etc. On best practices, I think that's an interesting one. I'm not sure that there are a lot of publicly available material on how to structure this these kinds of engagements. That's a good one. I think let us take it up and see if we can develop something around it. Yes. Anything else? Or okay. There's a question from Gaurav. Can you please give some information on costing? Sure. So our philosophy of costing or pricing is that we understand what the role needs, how many years of experience, what are the tasks involved, and then we price it as per market rate, and then we do a pro rata basis the number of hours that you want the person for. So it's that's why it then becomes very cost effective. So if you want to hire somebody in sales, who who needs to perhaps work, in sales actually it doesn't matter how many hours in a day they actually work, and in fact you'd get very good productivity because these would be experienced people. But if you're taking them for 4 to 5 hours in a day, then you would get them at half the pricing that you would get a similarly experienced person out in the market. I hope that answers to some extent. Uh, okay. Another question from Victor. Are there specific industries or roles that you work in, or will you look at any role? We are actually quite agnostic to industry or function. So our vision is to be able to make all kinds of role, or make flexibility work for different kinds of roles across industries. So we do everything from very core and operational roles like sales, marketing, to even projects, to more freelance friendly functions like content, design, graphic, all of it. In investment banking, we've placed CFOs in part-time roles. Like the example that I took, we've placed equity research analyst. Sales is in fact our biggest function. So across roles, yeah, and similarly across industries. From Soumya, is it primarily folks who want to work only part-time remotely? Is it flexible talent open to full-time work too in general? So our target audience is, or rather our talent pool is primarily women who want to work flexibly, that is part-time and remotely, because that's what works very well for them as a life choice. They do not want to go back to the full-time workforce, or they cannot go back to the full-time workforce. And in fact, this is an added advantage, I would say, because they are very committed people. They have fire in their belly. They have work ethic because they are experienced, and of course they have the skills. There's no question about it. So yeah, that's our talent pool. But of course, in the market out there, you know, there are freelancers who work in different ways. They take up multiple projects at a time, and they sometimes supplement full time with part time, and all of those things. Yeah. Hi, Mr. Ramani. Is it only for remote delivery or even for part time by coming into the office? So we actually we are open to part time where there is a bit of office interaction as well. But see, we ourselves wouldn't say that we won't do it. It is only a function of the talent pool narrowing. So the more the in office interaction is, the more number of days you want them to come to your office, the narrower a pool gets, because first of all we have to then stick to that same geography where your office is, and secondly that person or those candidates need to have the ability to the infrastructure, the support systems, to be able to go to office the number of times that you want. But if it is say once in a while, once in a fortnight, or even once a week, some of those things can be done. Yes, we've done arrangements of that nature. And there's another question. Mr. Ramli asks, is it possible to get resources for HR domain? Yes, absolutely. We have placed people in senior to more executional HR roles. We have a very good pool of HR talent. Absolutely. Would love to get a requirement for you from you on HR. From Victor, what do you think makes a good partner on the business side? Company who's looking for flexi talent so that both the women professionals and businesses have the best experience. Interesting. I think in terms of thanks for this question. I think in terms of mindset, we've seen that the best partnerships are with people, with businesses who who are who have had some experience in leading teams, and they for example have developed their own style of leadership in a way. So there is a philosophy that they come from, which is and a lot of times when you have experience with leading teams, you understand that it's not really about the number of hours that anybody in your team is putting in, or it's not about face time. And I think a lot of this now, given the pandemic, many of us have realized that remote work actually works very well. So where we see businesses having this kind of innate understanding that it's at the end of the day, it's about the output. It's about whether that person is able to deliver or not, no matter if they do it in 4 to 5 hours or 5 to 6 hours, and no matter if they do it from their home or they do it from our offices. So that philosophy match makes for very good partnerships. We have some people with us who we are in long-term associations with, who have this mindset. Yeah. Okay, from Venkatesh, whether these services available to rural parts of India, do you have any training for rural women jobs? So we at this point in time are focusing on mid to senior white collar jobs. That's the space that we are in. So anything that is a professional opportunity or professional role, like I said, like sales, marketing, finance, those kinds of roles. Those are the area of focus for us from both the business end, and then also from the talent end. From the talent end, we really got sort of inspired to start FlexiBees because we realized that there were a whole lot of qualified women who had the best of, say, education, who worked in really good companies and have done really well at their jobs, are in fact sitting at home and wanting to use their skills, wanting to use their knowledge, and they don't have the avenues to do that. So that was really the inspiration behind starting FlexiBee. So at the moment, we are focusing on that segment for both ends and not expanding to the rural ecosystem yet. Shalini asks, what is your SLA? The resources will be on outsourced basis. So our SLA would be, so what we promise basically. Our promise is to give you great talent. We don't take ownership of the work, for example. So we are not an agency to which you can outsource the job. So a lot of our people are knowledge workers, where it's important for there to be direct interaction between them and the client. So, for example, it's a marketing role, or even if it's a sales role, you need to really, some of the work that we do is in complex service selling, or new products, etc., where there is some value that comes from interacting directly with the client and understanding the thinking behind the product. So there is direct interaction, there's direct working relationship between the our talent and the businesses. What we take full ownership for is to give you the best talent, and in case there is a problem, we intervene, we try and figure out a solution, and in the possibility of it not working out, we give a replacement. I hope that answers your question, Shalini. Venkatesh, whether training for rural people available and time duration and cost. We have not yet started the training or expansion to rural geographies yet. It's a good idea. We'll think about it. Thanks, Venkatesh. Okay. There's a comment from Kamal. Confidentiality of senior profiles. Um, do you mean to say that will they keep your work and data confidential? Is that the question? Uh, I'm guessing so. So yeah, so basically there is every facility available for you to sign NDAs and contracts with contracts where you can mention exclusivity, you can mention non-compete, and of course the NDA itself will be mentioned very tightly the confidentiality aspect of it. So yeah, I mean that those are some of the ways that you can do that. Additional to that is the fact that, like I said, our pool of talent are people who have only 4 to 5 hours in the day. Largely, that's the pool. They are not working across multiple assignments. Most often, they are not. They are committed to your role. So there is less possibility of leakage in that case. In that sense, also. Okay. Shalini has a question. What is the turnaround time to help us find a resource? So it's if you come to us with a requirement today, then we'll take a couple of days to get back to you with the proposal. The proposal will have some sample profiles so that you can see whether that works for you or not, and then it will have a pricing. And if you're okay with that, then within 1 to 2 weeks, we can come back to you with the final profiles that you can interview. So one important thing about us to know is that we are not a marketplace. We do the selection ourselves because we realized very early on that the space of flexibility, it requires very holistic matching. It's not just about the skills for sure, but also about other things like commitment, whether the pool has the right time availability in their lives, whether they have the right support systems. So we then designed our own selection process and we evaluate for these parameters. The other thing that this selection process helps us do is really cut down time at the business end, because a lot of you are really busy entrepreneurs, and we really don't want you to spend say 40 to 50 hours per flexi role looking for somebody, and that's the industry average. 40 to 50 hours is what it takes for any hiring manager or company to hire a new person, and that's really untenable for say a startup, because HR teams are not very are not very big, and of course the founder themselves shouldn't have to spend so much time. So our selection process ensures that you have to spend at max 4 to 5 hours, where you tell us the requirement. We do the entire process, we do the screening, selection, all of it, and we come back to you with maybe one or two profiles per role that we think are really good fits for what you want, and then you can do the interviewing. So that's the turnaround time and a little bit of how we do it. Kamal again asks, are profiles of senior profiles also freely advertised? We have senior profiles for sure. So our the average number of years of work ex for our pool is 7 years. So that ranges from 3 to 4 to it could go up to 15 and more as well. So we definitely have mid to senior profiles. I don't know what you mean by freely advertised. So I think I just said that we are not a marketplace. So what we will do if you need a senior person is we will go and we'll first understand your requirement well. Then we'll go and do our selection and find you the person that you need. And of course, then you can speak to them and interview them and do your own process with them. Uh, yeah, and you can onboard them. By the way, I think Shalini asked me turnaround time. I should mention over here that once you've completed the interview, it takes perhaps 1 to 2 days to finish the contracting, and maybe a day after that to launch. Of course, provided we get a response from you on the contracting, all of that. But it is that quick. And like I said, this is at the heart of what the Flexi talent ecosystem is. The onboarding and the all of that can be really quick. It's truly on demand. From Soumya, how has your experience been as a startup in hiring talent yourself? Thank you for this question. I'm so happy to hear this. So we actually use our own pool. It's so for us it's a no-brainer actually, because we believe in the vision of helping women return to work. We believe in the vision of helping women work flexibly, and of course we hugely believe in flexible work ourselves, in part-time project-based kind of work, and of course in remote working. So all of it ticks all the boxes. So we use our own pool. We have a 22 member team at this point in time. We are a fully remote organization. We've been so from day one. And with our people working from across different cities and even countries. And yeah, and we are a mix of full time and part time, and all of us are women, and most of the team are women who are returning to work. Oh, I think ah they couldn't hear me for some time. Okay. Oh, lost the last 5 minutes, is it? Ah, that's a shame. Um. Uh. But can anybody tell me where till where you guys heard the question till where you heard, and I'll be happy to repeat. Oh, TAT. Okay. So on TAT, I was saying that it's really truly on demand what we are able to do, because after you interview the candidates and you like them, the contracting can happen in 1 or 2 days, and the onboarding can happen immediately in a day or so. So it's one of, like I said, one of the best parts of the flexible talent ecosystem is that you can get people really quickly. Okay, let me try and quickly walk through some of the other answers. Profiles of senior profiles also freely advertised. So we do have senior people. So our talent pool average has 7 years of experience, which ranges from 3 to 4 years to goes up to 15 years or even more. So we definitely have the senior folks that you may need. In terms of whether they are freely advertised, I don't know what that means. If it means whether we are a whether we work in the in a marketplace mode, we don't work as a marketplace. So what we do is we'd understand from you what you need. We'd go back, do the selection, and then we'd come to you with the profiles that work. Okay, I love this question so much that Soumya asked me, and I gave such a detailed answer to it, and it all got lost. So Soumya's question was, how has your experience been as a startup in hiring talent yourself? So yeah, thank you, Soumya, for this question. So we actually use our own talent pool. So it ticks all the boxes for us. So we are very passionate about hiring, enabling women to return to work. We are very passionate about flexibility, about remote working, and not being different from full time working, and not being an impediment to doing the work really well. And we also are very deliberate with our hiring. So where the role requires a part time person or a part time hours, so we hire in that way. That's how we are also able to be lean and frugal in the way that we operate, and bootstrap so far. So our experience in hiring talent has been excellent. It's fed back to us a lot of learning and insights that we then feed back to our selection process and our requirement gathering process. And we are very blessed to have the team that we do, and to have the talent pool that we do, that we are able to work for them. I hope that answers. Another question from Soumya was how our experience has been placing HR and talent acquisition folks. So it's been good. If I were to detail it out a little more, then we've placed people who have senior folks who have the experience of policy design, creating the process, the workflows, and then for say startups who want somebody to come in and sort of create and structure the entire HR function, and then can also handle a team and get the execution done. So we've placed people like that. We've placed people in some niches like compensation and benefits, in some of those niches that that specialists offer. And we've also done more execution based talent placement, say as recruitment specialists, etc. So yeah, we've done different levels, and it's been good. Question from Victor: in terms of working with Flexibly, best to whether to come with a specific requirement or to have 2 3 role ideas, which you can get feedback on. So to this, I said that we'd be happy to talk through the 2 3 different ideas that you have, and sort of help work out what the specifics are. So that's definitely possible. But what we would take back to our team, to the recruitment team, is the specific of the role, because we focus a lot on the matching. For the matching to be right, the specifics have to be in place. So yeah, so what we take back to the recruitment team would be a lot of those meaty details that they need to then use to get to the right talent for you. Yeah, but yeah, I hope that answers. You can reach out to us for both. Venkatesh, your question on WhatsApp group, actually I didn't understand. I'll get in touch with you later. And I hope you guys heard the piece about how about our selection process, and that we very strongly select for all our requirements on not just skills but also factors like their time, the time availability of that they have, the support systems that they have, to ensure that the engagement is a success. I hope that was audible. Thank you so much, everyone. Thanks for coming and thanks for the wonderful questions. And I hope this was illuminating. Yeah, happy to share this with you. Thank you and have a good day.